Okay, here we go. This is going to be the long-awaited secrets, the inside knowledge, the little known, how they learn any language in the world. Okay, so let's start out here. Ethnologue, one of the leading, if not the leading source in the world about the number of languages in the world and study on those languages, puts the number of languages in the world at 6,000 or a little over 6,000 languages. Some are dying, and there are rarely now a few that are being found. So they're new discovered languages. The vast majority, and by vast I mean 90% or more of those 6,000 languages, do not have scripts. They have no form of writing. They are in the stage of what language is originally, and that is sound and meaning, communication. So, people on the YouTube language file polyglot community can't attempt to learn those languages because they don't have the skills, the tool set, or the education to attempt to do that. They don't know the organized way to go about learning those languages. And what I'm going to do is reveal a little bit of what field linguists know that other people on here, especially on the YouTube community of polyglots, especially referring to those who think that they are going to talk about learning languages, have no clues about, because they just don't have the skills. They cannot learn a language that does not have a script. They want to use grammar and translation methods, learning from books, written sources, looking for people who've already figured out the entire system that you need as a field linguist to do. Now, I'm going to give away some of the deep core secrets that are only learned through graduate school level study into linguistics, and especially field linguistics. There's no theory here. A lot of low level thinkers don't know what linguistics is. Linguistics is the study and science of languages. Now, a lot of those people on YouTube want to confuse that with being a polyglot. Here's a huge difference. While many linguists are polyglots, 98% of all polyglots are not linguists. They can't do what I'm about to say. This is open challenge to Steve Kaufman, for example, one of the sycophantic leaders of the I'm Great YouTube linguist guys on here. Cannot learn many of the languages that are out there because he doesn't have the skills. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit now. If you really want to know, the deep, dark secrets of how to do what field linguists have been doing for over 100 years, you're going to have to contact me. But contact me and be sincere, and don't expect freebies. Okay, this is not going to happen. I'm revealing things that cost more than tens of thousands of dollars, and just fees alone to learn. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give you a short outline of what it takes, and the process, the secret process that no one on YouTube has ever talked about, because none of these people who are polyglots knows anything about it. Now, the first thing you should do, because some people have sent me email and private messages and would like to know, and they're actually sincere about the process, and so they said, what are some of the books that I could use as a information source? So I'm going to give you, I've got a few here ready to go, and I'm going to give you some of them as information resources. It's up to you to follow through. Okay, here we go. So one of the first things, just to get an overview of things, is this book on linguistic fieldwork. This will give you an outline of what goes on in fieldwork to be a field linguist, to go after a language, a minority. It's called in the area of minority language, geoloc language, little studied language, a little research language. That's some of the terms used. Okay, so this will give you an overview of the entire process. It will not tell you how to do the process, though. That relies on other skills that you should already have by this time that you're going to use this sort of information. So what are some, I'll give you some of the sets of skills. You're not going to learn them from me. I'm not giving them to you right here. I'm just going to give you an outline of the skills that are needed. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to have to do is, because you'll work with a language that no one's worked with before, or few people have worked with, you're going to have to know how to, what you hear, transcribe that into a writing system that can be used and communicated with anybody, anywhere in the world. There have been several systems used. The one that everyone kind of defaults to is called the IPA, the International Phonetics Association's symbols. Now, here's a course book for what you're going to need: articulatory phonetics. You're going to have to learn the sounds connected with the icons, so that you can know from this. If you know everything, you can iconically represent any language in the world, even the click-stop languages in sub-Saharan. Those sorts of sounds, they have symbols. Also, there's a lot of things going on that you don't know in your own L1 until you've studied articulatory phonetics. So this is going to give you the beginnings of what goes on with hearing the sound and then translating that to icons. So from that, you're going to have to know then what you're hearing. How does it go? How do the sounds work? What's the underlying structure of the sounds, just the sounds themselves? And that's going to go to phonology, to phonological analysis. You're going to have to learn all sorts of things about what goes on. This is an in-depth field. A lot of people just specialize in phonology. There is also acoustic phonology, where we're using a lot of software now and computers to be more accurate on depicting what's really going on. But the initial stages are, again, using your own abilities with a method. Okay, and there's a lot here: onset, coda, blah blah. I'm not going to start talking about all these different things. I'm just giving you an outline here, which no one else has done. So from the phonological analysis, you're going to be then looking for elicitation of different text, of different things. You're going to be trying to work through what the sounds mean, which is linked obviously to semantics. But before that, you're going to have to understand how syntax works, the structure of words. In some languages, syntax is very fixed, very rigid, like English, or it's very flexible in inflectional morphology languages like Latin, for example. Here in mainland Southeast Asia, most of all languages are isolating languages. You can look that up yourself for what that means. And they're almost all tonal. There's a few exceptions, but they're almost all tonal. So distinction is made on the tones. That's very important to know. So when you get to syntax, you're going to put syntax into a deeper part of the language structure. Okay, now these are just beginning level things. This is what you need just as a basis to do field work. And that is going to lead you to, like I said, it's going to lead you to possibly morphology, because morphology is all you people who are, you're talking about European languages, Romance languages, they have morphology. Actually, the Aboriginal languages in Australia have a lot of morphology too. I think they're the most heavily inflected large number of languages in one spot. Papua New Guinea has the most number of languages in a small area, if anywhere on the planet. That's because they were isolated communities. Language, community, structure, and development go hand in hand, as does warfare, modern advancements, and then now business, of course, is leading how the distribution of languages, of world languages. Now, you're going to have to go to semantics next, because you're going to have to know how those words, that the sounds you're hearing, are used in different ways. What's polysemous? Do they have does one word have a lot of different meanings, which is usually the case. In English, for example, paper can be the substance. Paper can be a written project, and paper can combine with another noun, basket. Paper basket can be a trash can or rubbish can or waste can, depending on which English is your L1, British or North American or international. Anyway, so that's an outline. I haven't given you specifics. There's a lot of things that go into that. No, you cannot really do this on your own. It's not going to be possible. You need other people to help you that that already have the ability. It's been a long process to get to field linguistics. It's a science. It's a hard science, just as physics, for example. In fact, physics is involved in the phonological aspect, in the phonological analysis, grammar analysis, grammar, syntax, structure. That is a lot more complicated than you people who are used to prescriptive things, do this or do that. And I'm not talking about orthography principles or using or following what your English teacher, for example, told you in middle school or high school. That is not descriptive. What you're going to use are descriptive abilities and descriptive grammar, which is totally different than the prescriptive things that you were taught, and also misleading things that you were taught. The grammar teachers in high school don't have an inkling about the true inner workings of English structure. They just don't really know what's going on. They just don't have the background in it. Now, that's part of the secrets. Part of the secrets. I'm the only person to clue you into that little bit. And that little bit is a gigantic step that the people who are setting themselves as gurus, as leaders, as trying to sell you a product of their product of reading text of their left brain only text method, or taking books that have already been written and going through them and finding what you can use, or applying these sort of tourist phrase books, or you're going to do this and you're going to try to go to Skype and bore people to death because you're unable to communicate anything. You're not going to learn anything from those guys about the majority of the languages in the world. I'm the only one on YouTube that's telling you anything about how to learn the majority of the languages, or any language in the world. Any language in the world. Linguists can learn any language in the world. The polyglot YouTube crowd can't touch over 90% of the languages in the world. Win? Field linguist. Losers? Polyglot, YouTube, self-aggrandizing bandits. So stay tuned. Once again, contact me if you're serious. I don't work with people who aren't willing to invest themselves, though. So don't approach me and don't troll me, all right? I'm getting a little tired of that. I definitely say, I'm going to say it again right here, right now. If you want to say something, real name, real photo. If you don't have that, you have no credibility. Go into hiding. You shouldn't be on the internet, and you have no opinion that matters at all. If you're going to try to disavow anything that I've said, cite sources. If you can't do that, you have no credibility. It's all about credibility. It's not about your opinion. I don't care about your opinion unless you have a PhD in the field. Your opinion is worthless to anybody that knows any of this as a science. All right? And your hackneyed ideas of what a linguist is or will do doesn't matter. Neither does the YouTube crowd that can't be published, hasn't been published, wouldn't be able to get a job as a linguist because, once again, they have no credibility. So you've heard it here. Your secrets were revealed little by little.